Hello, welcome to my channel. Another bibliophile reads. My name is Greg, and I am in search of the best short stories written in the 20th century. Now, not everyone is a fan of the short story. I hear some people talking that they just don't like to read short stories that often. And while I kind of agree, I also disagree because I actually do like short stories. What I don't actually like is reading short story collections by individual authors. There's often a good short story or two, but to be honest, a lot of short story collections have some filler, and I don't want to read a lot of filler. So, in my project to find the best short stories of the 20th century, I have selected 20 stories that I have read sometime in my past, sometimes more than once. One, I'm kind of wondering, did I really read that? I kind of remember that title and that author, but I don't remember a whole lot about that short story. But I wanted to include it because it has a very solid reputation. So I've got my 20 short stories selected. They are mostly considered in the literature genre. I've excluded science fiction, and I've excluded horror and mystery, although there's at least one story in here that might be included in some of those other genres. So I've got my 20. I'm going to be reading them roughly in publication order. In some cases, my year is the translation date and not necessarily the original publication date. And in some cases, I think I have the publication date, not the translation date. So the year and the order is rough, close enough for government work. So what I plan to do is to read one of these short stories per week, and then every Saturday, upload a very short video, somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes long, where I give my impressions of this short story. Is this truly a great short story, or has its day gone by? There are at least two authors on this list where I'm pretty sure some people are going to go, that author's a has-been. Why are you including that author? I'm including that author because I read these short stories back in the day. The author was not considered a has-been, that they were staples of literature for a university student. So they are included. Once I have read all these stories, I'm going to rank them and see which of these 20s is my least favorite up to my favorite. I have a rough idea sort of in my mind, but once you start getting into this, that's going to change a little bit. So we'll see what is my favorite and what is my least favorite. Now, again, this is a very arbitrary list. I have included only short stories that I have read before. I'm not necessarily going to the best of lists and anthologies and selecting, I want to read that short story. I've never read it. Those are excluded from this initial list. Eventually, if this goes well, and I'm not sure it's going to go well because I have a feeling that videos about short stories aren't going to get the highest viewership. I'm not necessarily super concerned about how many views I get because this is a project for me to get this all in my mind and decide what are the best short stories. And then after I've done my 20, I think I might want to branch out. I may want to start including some short stories that just have a very good reputation, but I haven't read, and see how they mix in with my first 20. I also want to branch out into reading science fiction short stories, and I want to branch out into horror short stories. Mystery short stories, maybe I'll do those too. I don't think mystery does as well as a short story as does science fiction and horror and literature. And we will see from there what I think. Because reading a short story a week, I think is very, very pleasant. I used to do that a few years ago, and I just got out of the habit, and I want to bring back that habit and see how these short stories come out. Now, that's my project. I'm going to list the stories that are on my initial 20 in the description. I'm also going to read them. If you want to read them with me, drop me a line on Voxer, GEEMONT235, and we can discuss these. There is an approximate schedule. Schedules can change, maybe not. It's only a short story per week, so it should be pretty easy to keep on track. Well, anyway, this is going to start the week after I post this, and here's what I plan to read. In March, To Build a Fire by Jack London, originally 1908. The Dead, James Joyce, 1914. April, The Hunger Artist by Franz Kafka, 1922. The Rocking Horse Winner by D.H. Lawrence, 1926. A Clean, Well-Lighted Place by Ernest Hemingway, 1933. Barn Burning by William Faulkner, 1939. May, The Man Who Was Almost a Man by Richard Wright, 1940. The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, 1948. The Garden of Forking Paths by Jorge Luis Borges, 1948. A Good Man is Hard to Find by Flannery O'Connor, 1953. In June, The Guest by Albert Camus, 1957. Sonny's Blues by James Baldwin, 1957. Defender of the Faith by Philip Roth, 1959. A&P, John Updike, 1961. July, The Swimmer by John Cheever, 1964. Where Are You Going? Where Have You Been? By Joyce Carol Oates, 1966. The Sea of Lost Time by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, 1972. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, 1990. August, The Elephant Vanishes by Haruki Murakami, 1991. An Emergency by Dennis Johnson, 1992. That is my initial list of the 20. We'll see how far this goes, and if there's any real interest in people listening to me talk about short stories on BookTube. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.